are centering our research on something called Wrights Law.
What's up guys, I'm back like I never left. In this video we're going to be talking about Ark Invest. We're going to go over exactly why Ark Invest has been successful for the past few years. We're going to go over in detail what their secret is. Also going to be watching an interview with Cathie Wood explaining exactly how she found the niche of disruptive innovation. So I'm going to cover all this important information coming up. Before we get into the video, I appreciate if you can hit the like button. If you have any questions, any comments, make sure you drop in the comment section below. As you can see over here, we got Ark Invest has a secret sauce to their success, and that is due to their diverse team. So believe it or not, the majority of the people that work in Ark Invest don't even have a financial background. You know, they come from different walks of life. They have different experiences. We got gaming engineers, we got cancer researchers, and there's a lot of diverse people working over there. 30% of the employees are women, and the majority of them are in their 20s. And also, Cathie Wood said that you're probably not going to find a more diverse group of people that already have one foot in the world, and they're extremely creative in terms of figuring out how the world is going to work. Now let's look at some of the employees or some of the teams that are working at Ark Invest. Of course, we have Cathie Wood as the CEO. We got Jay, which is the Chief Financial Officer. You know, we have the executive assistants over here. We got client portfolio manager. We have William, which is a trading manager. You have James, which is an analyst. You know, so the majority of the analysts, as she mentioned, you know, they don't even have a background in finance. You know, so that's what makes this company different, is that they have a very well diverse and young people working over there from all of these employees. And you probably know Tasha and Cathie Wood because they're the one that's out there, you know, doing interviews in CNBC, different networks, talking about Tesla or some other companies. So these are basically the face of the institution. So now let's look at exactly how Cathie Wood actually came up with the idea to create Ark Invest. You know, there is a fantastic interview we're going to go over and watch.
So Cathie, I wanted to take you back to 2014 when you started Ark.
Yes.
What gave you the appetite that thematic investing was sort of the way that long-term value sits going forward?
Well, in 2014, really before that, I was observing and had been observing that since the tech and telecom crash in the early 2000s and then the 08-09 meltdown, the crisis, we've been witnessing increasing moves towards passive investing or benchmark sensitive investing, which is almost the same thing in my mind. And at the same time, we were witnessing the search for innovation increasingly occurring, especially for large asset managers in the pre-IPO space. And so I saw a void opening up, both in terms of research and investing in innovation in the public markets. And I wanted to fill that void. In a traditional asset management firm, it really wasn't possible to do that because the second reason I formed the firm was to add new dimensions to research. So harnessing social media, crowdsourcing, opening our research intranet up to professors and venture capitalists so that you know, we could network with them and really push the frontiers of knowledge forward together. That would not be allowed in traditional asset management firms because compliance departments are very fearful of social media, right? We're pushing our research out into social media because we want to engage with the communities we're researching. It would be very difficult to do that in a traditional asset management firm. And now the reason we can do it is we brought on an attorney who had been at the SEC for 4 years and had been a bank examiner during a time when they were evolving standards for social media and marketing. So he's young, he's comfortable with social media, and he's a really good compliance officer. So that's why Ark exists.
Do you think that other more traditional fund managers in this space will be forced to adopt that quest for further innovation, or do you see yourself being just light years ahead of everyone?
Oh no, we're not light years ahead. In fact, we're seeing a lot of ETFs in the US being thrown up. It's a little bit the scattershot approach. So they seize on artificial intelligence and then they'll just screen for any company that looks like it might be involved in artificial intelligence. This is more the passive way of investing. It's a little bit difficult for me to understand because we're so research driven in our in our research. In our investment process. So I think that others are following, but I do think traditional asset management firms, those who do research, are going to have to restructure in some way in order to capitalize on the innovation that's taking place and the exponential growth that's taking place. And the reason is technology is seeping into every sector. So it's blurring the lines between and among sectors. And the 5 innovation platforms that we're focused on, they're converging. So we need analysts very comfortable with technology, even in the healthcare field and the industrial field. And we need their responsibilities to be broken out by innovation platforms that cut across economic sectors. So a stock like Tesla, now being analyzed in the traditional world by auto analysts, which are analysts focusing on a very mature industry. They're value analysts, right? So price to book, dividend yield, all of those metrics are important to them, are going to find it difficult to analyze a company that is not just an auto manufacturer, but also an artificial intelligence chip designer and an autonomous taxi platform provider, which is a transportation as a service. So we've got 3 analysts focused and collaborating on understanding how Tesla is going to evolve during the next few years. Sam Corris, who does our robotics work, autonomous vehicles are going to be robots. He also does our energy storage work. So he's very comfortable with battery technology. Probably, I would say he's the financial industry's expert on battery technology. We have James Wang, who's focused on artificial intelligence. He came out of NVIDIA, which is the artificial intelligence chip company. So he spent 9 years there, so great expertise, and understands how significant Tesla's latest chip design, artificial intelligence chip design, is, pushing it 4 years ahead of anything that NVIDIA is doing right now. And then we have Tasha Keeney, who is using their inputs and pulling together our autonomous taxi network model. And the autonomous taxi network model is a very profitable model. The gross margins there are in the 80% range. The gross margins for auto manufacturers are in the 20 to 30% range, night and day. So you need a completely different kind of analyst and a different way of thinking about the world. No longer sectors, but platforms.
I think one of the things that people almost underestimate the most is this impact of innovation. How do you use that to exploit some market inefficiencies and find some of these stocks that you look at?
Well, we are centering our research on something called Wrights Law. Now, Wrights Law is very specific to innovation, and it's actually a relative of Moore's Law. Moore's Law, however, is a function of time. Wrights Law is a function of units. And it basically says for every cumulative doubling in units produced, costs decline at a consistent rate. So what we are looking for in terms of impact is figuring out, have costs associated with one of these platforms drop to a low enough level that they're going to unleash waves of demand and get us into that exponential growth curve. So whether DNA sequencing, we're there. To give you an example, DNA sequencing costs now are below $1,000. Last year, the number of whole human genomes sequenced around the world was 2.4 million. That was half of all the whole human genomes ever sequenced in history. So we're already at the tipping point, and we believe that number is going to go to 100. So that's almost a 40-fold increase in the next 5 years. So that is truly exponential growth, and it is going to change healthcare decision making. It's bringing real science into healthcare decision making for the first time. So our geneticists, and you're going to have one, so am I, are going to be able to identify for the first time the needle in the haystack. They're going to be able to identify which genes in our genomes have mutated. In other words, they've developed a programming error. And now with CRISPR gene editing, following it up, we're going to be able to correct those programming errors. It's going to be incredible to catch cancer in stage 1 and then edit it away. We think that's going to be possible in the next 5 to 10 years, and probably sooner than that. So that's real impact.
So we're almost creating these superhumans.
Well, longevity, yes, human lives will be extended, but the quality of human life is going to improve dramatically if we're able to move away from treating cancer as a chronic condition, and that's where we've been going recently, but to actually correct whatever the mutation that has taken place very early on, that's going to be huge. In fact, last week, there was a journal of New England, the New England Journal of Medicine, published a report on a man with leukemia whose leukemia after CRISPR gene editing has disappeared, and 19 months later, it still has not returned. So that was, you know, that's a pretty complicated cancer, and we've gotten some of the heavyweights in the gene editing community to say, wow. So we may be closer to this than many people believe.
As you saw from the video, she talked about exactly how she got involved in it, why she started it, and also let me know in the comment section below if you guys are surprised that the majority of the analysts that are working, they don't have financial backgrounds. Let me know in the comments, and if you have any questions, drop in the comment section below. If you want to sign up for Webull or join the Discord, join the Patreon page, links are available also in the description box. But I catch you guys on tomorrow's video. Have a wonderful day.